All right, what is going on, Ravens flock? And we are back here again with our ninth podcast, number 9. We're making it deep, making a push, and as we push here through the dog days of the summer, not a lot of news going on, but we show up here every Thursday, and we try and make a good take, good rational thoughts on what is going on of what's happening, all that stuff. So without further ado, Vaz, how you doing tonight? What's the vibe?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. I can't complain. We're entering the summer, I guess, a little bit here. Had a nice Memorial Day weekend on the beach with the kids, and we call this podcast the Ravens Way, and we try to be straight shooters about the Ravens Way. And are they doing the Ravens Way the right way, or are they doing the Ravens Way the wrong way? So we got some OTAs going on today. A little media availability gives us a little opportunity to opine on a few different topics, and let's dive into it. We got about 100 days until the regular season kicks off, so it's time to start digging in a little deeper, I think.
Definitely. And I wanted to touch before we get to what JK said. I just want to touch on the. Well, I guess that is the OTA. So never mind. We'll get that at the end. We'll get it at the end. But yeah, okay. So JK Dobbins tweets out 3 cryptic tweets. One was about how he loves the Ravens flock. But then he followed it up with, I don't know if I'll be here for long, or that was the gist of it. And then I don't remember what the other one was. I looked at him briefly. I'm like, okay.
He's setting up a what do they call that? Like crowdfunding, fund me for running backs. He's like Ravens flock, fund me.
I'm wearing a shirt right now. It says "Nobody cares, work harder." Now, J.K. Dobbins is entitled to feel how he feels. I understand that he wants to get paid, and NFL stands for not for long, so I don't blame him. But I feel like it's almost like the third time that he said something along these lines. At some point, you just gotta play football. That's really it. Like I said, he's entitled. He's entitled to feel how he wants to feel, and I'm sure Carolina or maybe I'm trying to think of like an Ohio, like a team near Ohio that he
I
would
don't
like
know.
to
You
go.
sure though? Because they all overpaid running backs too and regretted it in Carolina and everywhere else. I mean, personally, I have zero sympathy for running backs. Dobbins as a second-round pick is going to make almost $5 million. How many of his high school teammates earn that kind of money playing ball? Not very many, that's for sure. He's in the 98th percentile of the genetic lottery to make it to the NFL. The fact he doesn't play a position that doesn't have too much supply and not enough demand is not something to cry over. And this is now the third time that, as you said, he's spoken out. And my philosophy with the running back position is draft a running back in the 4th round every single year and burn and turn like you're dealing Texas Hold'em. There's absolutely zero reason to pay any running back a second contract. I think that neither Kansas City nor Philadelphia, both of the Super Bowl combatants last year, had a running back or a linebacker making more than Gus Edwards, the Ravens RB2 last year. Either position. So you want to pay your franchise quarterback and you want to make a linebacker the highest paid linebacker in the league, you better not pay a running back. I mean, that's just a recipe for regular season success and postseason disappointment over and over and over again. So that's where I stand on J.K. Dobbins' contract.
How much was McKinnon making?
Jerick McKinnon?
Yeah.
I don't know that off the top of my head.
You don't?
But Gus was making like $3 million, I think.
Well, I think McKinnon may have been around there.
I'll look it up right now.
Unless they put him on the min. because he was
He was
injured.
on IR that anyway. He didn't even play in the playoffs. Uh, 1 year, 990K.
So the men, all right. He played. I don't know. I thought he played a lot better than 990K, but
Well, that's the point. That's the point. You can get a guy that plays really well for 999K, and that's why you don't want to pay any running back more than $3 million. That's the whole point.
Yeah, it must have been me hitting all those 2 touchdown parlays with him during the second half of the season. I kept hitting. I'm like, man, probably making a little bit of money. Nope, he's making the vet man. Yeah, I mean, I just it doesn't really mean anything to me. He can keep demanding and all he wants to, but it's a new system. It's a new coordinator. It's a new thing. I think it's a new running back coach, if I'm not mistaken, and offense is going to be humming. There's going to be tons of space. Hopefully, Monken uses him in the pass game, and right now for me, it's comp pick season between him and Queen. It's the comp pick Olympics between them two, and who can get that 3rd round comp pick from someone else. That's
what
really
other team? What other team is dumb enough to pay a running back or an inside linebacker enough to qualify for a 3rd round comp? That's the name of the game right now.
I could think of a few.
Hopefully, bring it on.
Definitely linebacker. Someone will toss up money for that that 1st round pick. But I just think, and I'm with you. I think Kyle Shanahan said it, and it's something that I agree with heavily. Draft one good running back every year in the draft, and that's what they've been doing there. And it's like they keep having 1,000-yard rushers. Why? It's like they keep drafting running backs.
Well, the fun thing is in San Fran, they draft Trey Sermon, and then Elijah Mitchell outplays him as a UDFA, or was Elijah a 6th rounder? Anyway, he was definitely drafted after Sermon. And they keep investing, and then the guys that they're investing keep getting hurt, Raheem Mostert, etc. And the guys that keep investing get hurt, and then they backfill with cheap guys, and they perform just as well. So that's the thing with JK, right? JK's he's got a gaudy yards per carry average, like 6.2, I think, maybe for his career, 6.1. And not to take away from him, he has really good contact balance, and he has really good vision. Elite on those 2 things. But when you can plug in Gus, when Gus was still making UDFA money, or Justice Hill, or Devontae Freeman, or Latavius Murray, and they're still getting 5 yards a carry, I mean, you're talking what? 15 carries a game, 1 yard extra per carry? That's 15 yards a game. That's not worth very much money. It's really not. I'm sorry. It's just not.
Definitely. And I think as well with JK, if he was a more pronounced pass catcher and pass protector, I feel a little bit differently about him, but he hasn't really proved a lot in that category so far. That adds value to your team. So I guess to round off the JK topic, thoughts at what number, if it did happen, would you be comfortable extending JK Dobbins with?
Like $3 million a year, man. Honestly, $3 million a year. They don't have. This is not it's a luxury item that you cannot afford when you have a franchise quarterback and you already have the highest paid linebacker in the entire league. Maybe if they were going cheap at linebacker, you go a little bit more running back, but there's no possible reason, no possible justification for going heavy at both those positions with a franchise quarterback. It's going to leave you shorthanded on the pass rush, on the coverage, on the offensive line, on the playmakers, the receiving playmakers that you need to win the playoffs. And that's the bottom line. I mean, Jonas put out a really good article today, and I recommend everybody on the Baltimore Banner to go check it out. And he made a chart, and it's a 12-year sample size, and Harbaugh is like 5th or 6th or 7th most run heavy. 12 years. I mean, that's that goes across multiple different quarterbacks, personnel, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then all the teams up by the top in neutral script passing frequency are winning Super Bowls. You got Kansas City, you got Philly, you got the Rams, you got the Patriots. These are the teams that are winning. So Harbaugh's whole notion that pounding the rock and paying fullbacks and paying running backs and paying linebackers to stop the run, it's obsolete, man. I'm sorry to say it, but it is. And I really hope that Monken and Lamar and EDC can have a little meeting in a conference room without John there and build a team that is equipped to win in the modern NFL.
Definitely agree with that. For me, I would go. I'd probably go $4 million. I think I'd be comfortable with them. But to what you said, I just feel like you gotta start choosing your spots now that they have Lamar under contract. You can't just pay everybody. You're gonna have to make some tough decisions, and obviously not to bring up the past, but when they didn't have to make tough decisions and Lamar wasn't under contract, they could have probably kept players like Judon and Za'Darius and cut at other spots, but they didn't. And it kind of felt like they paid everybody, even if they were replaceable. But obviously that's in the past. Nothing to do about it.
Well, they paid. Let me just put a button on that. They paid the culture guys. They paid the culture guys. Brandon Williams, the culture guy. Darius Webb, restructure him post ACL, keep him around. Dennis Pitta, Nick Boyle, Pat Ricard. They paid a lot of. Chuck Clark is a culture guy, and they don't pay the premium position guys that are. They don't pay them their market value a lot of times. They don't want to do that, and I think that needs to change. I really do think that needs to change. So I'll leave it there, but I think if they pay Dobbins, I think they're going to feel the opportunity cost of that long term for real.
Definitely. But to get into our next bit, hop and a skip. Seems like everything and all of the timeline is DeAndre Hopkins was released by the Cardinals, and a lot of Ravens fans want him. They feel like it could add to our receiver room and be quote-unquote unstoppable, and that is amid the health concerns of Rashad Bateman and Odell Beckham. I think we're fine at the receiver room. I really do. I mean, I feel like this is a lot of like emotional reaction and PTSD from previous years where we got burnt by injuries, but previous years we really weren't deep, but we're not as deep as we are now. We're 5 deep right now, and the other years we were like 2 deep and 3 deep. So I'm really I think the assets are better spent somewhere else in terms of cap space. Would DeAndre Hopkins be just an absolute like cherry on top? Take us, kind of feel like we're already over the top, but really kind of solidify. It'd be cool. But I feel like at least offensively we're over the top, in my opinion. I feel like it would be cool, but I feel like this notion that the Ravens are going to score so many points it won't matter. I don't agree with that. When the Ravens get up 14 points, their defense will have to field 5, 6, 7 DBs, and our 5th, 6th, and 7th defensive back is pretty weak right now. Your 5th defensive back right now is Mullen, or Stevens, or whoever.
Pepe, Jags.
So I just feel like that's where the assets are going to be better spent in the long term, and the goal is year in year out is to build a complete roster. Eric DeCosta says that at almost every press conference he's in, we want to build a complete roster, and between now and September they have an opportunity to do that with some of the guys on the market, I believe, and they're not super expensive. They really aren't. There are some guys out there that are starting caliber that aren't going to break your bank. You can still have that little bit of money to, if JkD Dobbins goes down and you need to sign someone off the street, you still have the money for that. So I just feel like this is a very large emotional reaction.
Yeah, I completely co-sign on everything you said right there, brother. That was very well said. To me, I'm not opposed to a Hopkins addition, obviously, but that's a cherry on top kind of move. And to me, that's a granite countertops or quartz countertops in your kitchen. Let's make sure that the joists and the studs are strong first. To me, that is the pass defense, and I've touched on it probably every episode we've had. Um, they're losing a lot from the pass defense, and I would much rather see that money spent on. You can probably get Houston and Peters for the same money that you would get Nuke on a discount. Even if you could compel Nuke to take a discount, which doesn't seem like he wants to do when he's flirting with teams with a lot of cap space that aren't contenders. But even if you could, um, strengthening a strength versus strengthening a weakness, that's the debate, right? And that's been the debate. And get good players and just sign good players and sign Dobbins and sign Queen. They're good players and get Roquan. He's a good player. All this. Somebody made a really good point right after the draft. One of the bigger guys with one of the big guys, and he said all these coaches get up on the podium and tell you the goal of the draft is to get good players, and that's a fallacy. The goal of the draft and the goal of free agency and the goal of the offseason is to win a Super Bowl, not get good players. Not get good players that are going to Trenton Simpson that's going to play special teams for a year and then help you out. It's to fill in your gaps. So there are some teams, maybe Kansas City can get away with putting a boku of assets, an excess of assets into their offense and say we're going to outscore teams. The Ravens are not that team. They're never going to win a Super Bowl that way while John Harbaugh is their coach. He doesn't believe in playing that way. That's his identity. And he doesn't want to, I don't think he even wants to blow teams out. He wants to play close, tough games to build character and overcome adversity and all that kind of stuff. He really does. So, they're never going to be that kind of team that just has the best receiving core in the league and leads the league in passing attempts. I don't think that's ever going to happen. Long story short, bolster the pass defense. Cherries on top can go on top after you already put the whipped cream and the chocolate fudge. Cherries are the last piece, not the first.
Yeah, he wants some battle scars along the way. It's kind of like America and Vietnam. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. We're gonna show off. We're gonna test out all our new toys, but in the end, we're probably gonna lose at the end. So yeah, I just feel like it's unnecessary. At least right now, if they went out and signed Marcus Peters and Justin Houston tomorrow, then do what you want. Do what you want. I don't care anymore. Do what you want. Do what you want. We're good. We're fine. Go sign a running. I don't care.
Go pay Brandon Williams $8 million a year after you sign this deal. Go for it.
Yeah. Give him some sort of charity fund or something for all the stole money from us. Maybe we'll get some of that money back after we all the money we gave him. But yeah, I just feel like unnecessary at this moment. I don't want to sound like a broken clock, but goal is to build a complete roster. Right now, the Ravens do not have a complete roster. I am very concerned about their pass defense. They've lost significant pieces: Calais, JPP, and Marcus Peters. And you can say that they replaced that with Rocky Sin, but I don't think. I mean, I like Rocky Sin, but Marcus Peters and Rocky Sin are two very different players. So,
right, and that's the thing. The Ravens, I've made this point many times before, but I heard it on PFF today. Palazzolo, I think, was saying the Ravens' success on defense, which I've probably said before, is founded on depth in the secondary. You got a Jimmy Smith or a Marlon Humphrey or a Brandon Carr or a Kyle Fuller or pedigree guys waiting in the wings. They don't have that this year, and it's like it's a double whammy because you're also subtracted from the pass defense. So it is a legitimate concern. So if you're going to tell me I can have $10 million to pay Nuke, or I can have $10 million to pay both Justin Houston and Marcus Peters, I'm running to the table for the pass defenders. And we've made that point pretty much every time. These are homegrown guys. These are guys we've known. These are guys that are part of the system. You're not going to get through a season with 3 outside linebackers and Tavius Robinson playing 5 tech and kicking inside on 3 tech on passing downs. And, you're not going to get through the season with Marlowe and Rocky Sin healthy the entire way. I mean, we've seen that. I mean, we're Ravens fans. Like, how far, every single year we've seen that. There were defenses with Ray Lewis and Ed Reed really, really strong in the middle of the field. They got picked apart because they weren't strong enough on the boundaries. And as much as I like Roquan Smith and Marcus Williams, they're not Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. And the game is just getting more passing centric. So I think we've made our point there. Let's move on.
Definitely. I just want to touch on one more thing. There's a lot of people that are like, if Rashad Bateman and Odell Beckham go down, why not have that insurance in place? If your top 2 go down at any premium position, your season's kind of done. Like, if Devonta Smith went down, or if you even saw with the Chargers with Mike Williams, their offense eventually the offense eventually stalled out without having him in the playoffs. So yeah,
Jalen Guyton.
Yeah,
he's their Devin Duvernay. I mean, I don't know. I hear that, but I think that, as you said, as you open this whole thing up with, they're already 5 deep with quality receivers. Aguilar's not a world beater. Flowers is a rookie. Duvernay has his warts. We know what they are. But I'll take Duvernay's warts and Aguilar's warts and Flowers way over these Jalen Armour-Davis, Pepe Williams, Kyle Kelly, Trayvon Mullen. So
that's
where it goes.
Plus, that trio right there is probably better than almost all the receiving cores we've had with Lamar besides 2021.
I think it's the best receiving core since 2012 for sure, hands down.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about just Flowers, Duvernay, and Aguilar is better than everything besides 2021.
Yep. I agree with that. All right, what's up next?
OTAs. So I was kind of chomping at the bit when we just started. So let me get this. So Ravens had OTAs today, and a few players missing. Still no Odell Beckham. Mark Andrews shows up. Voss, your initial thoughts? OTAs?
I mean, I've been out to OTAs before with the press pass. It's you can't glean too much. Gleaning is the main word. How much can you glean, right? So anyway, I got some Clifton Brown put out an article this evening that your boy Charlie looked pretty good, made some plays. Marcus Williams made some plays. We got a little bit of intel from Adam in our little side chat there. What was it? He was saying Mullen looked good, which is good. If Mullen looks good, that can go a long way. He might be the key to training camp. I'll say it that way. So, there's only so much. I did think it was a little bit. It raised my eyebrow just a touch after all of the Lamar needs to be there. Lamar's the quarterback. And then we had Mike McDonald, the defensive coordinator, at the podium last week or 2 weeks ago saying, we want Roquan and Marlowe to take the reins of this team. They're the leaders on defense. And then neither of them showed up today. So this week. So I thought that was a little bit hypocritical, but it is what it is. They're installing. We want Lamar and Monken to build that rapport. We absolutely do. I want Lamar there. I want everybody there as much as possible. But you just can't glean too much. It's just they're playing patty cake out there. It's not football. It's It's not even 7-on-7. It's less than 7-on-7. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it is guys in shirts and shorts, and there's gonna be a lot of overreactions and takes and all that stuff. But I will say, from at least the podium talk today from T. Martin, that's the most I think I've ever learned in a thought process of a coach, like in a very long time, of like how the system operates, how they play off each other. Lamar makes an adjustment. Okay, why did you do that? Like, I felt like I really did learn a lot from how T. Martin operates and how the offense may operate. Um, a lot of the keywords, and of course, like I said, it's training camp, and they're going to say all the right stuff now. And then once it goes out there in September, maybe it changes. Who knows? But it feels like that the emphasis is going to be on kind of keeping it up tempo, not really letting the clock run down to 5 seconds, and then letting Lamar make changes to the line of scrimmage. I think that's really important, to see him grow as a quarterback, as a field general, letting him make adjustments. There's been a lot of times where there's been teams just screaming blitzes at us, and it feels like Greg Roman wasn't making any adjustment at all. He was just kind of in his own little world. And it's frustrating to know that Lamar really didn't have a say in that for a while. So now we kind of take the handcuffs off, and we take the blinders off, and we can see where this offense goes. I feel really good about it. I feel like Todd Monken really is energizing kind of all the offense. I mean, I feel like maybe football can be fun again for this team after the past, I would say, year and a half of football. It was not too fun.
I think that's a very good point, because I think probably since 2020, Lamar has. I mean, 2019, they were having a good time and dancing on the field and just living it up, And then, the next season, the playoffs, we saw where they stormed off the field, and Lamar, instead of celebrating and dancing in the end zone, he was spiking the ball or chucking the ball at a logo, or just not having fun, really. And I think a lot of that has to do with Greg Roman, and John Harbaugh's identity crisis, so to speak. But I'm very, very, very encouraged about this offense. Everything we've seen, everything we've read, looking into the tape, looking into what Monken brings. And I love his personality. I mean, we touched on that last episode, but I think he really suits the city of Baltimore, maybe more than John Harbaugh even does, But I'm very optimistic about this offense. There was a ranking or something put out earlier today about the offensive line and how that's always the key to the season. And I think, was it 11 or 12 of the last 20 Super Bowl combatants had a top 10 ranked offensive line according to PFF. The Ravens were 2 or 3 last year. They were between the Eagles were first, Chiefs were fourth, and they were somewhere in between. So that bodes well. They are potentially going to be put into disadvantageous situations by being forced to pass block more than they have. But it's a good O-line. I mean, they have every piece. They have everything. They're deep at receiver. They have a stable at tight ends. They got a good O-line. Left guard is a place where all the teams hide their worst blocker. You got him between a first-round pick in Linderbaum and a franchise left tackle. That should boost up whoever the left guard tends to be. And you got Lamar, and you got hopefully Dobbin angry and hungry and trying to get paid and going to show up and run his little heart out so he gets paid. So, So I think the offense is in a really good spot, but I like a little bit more on defense.
Yeah, run his little heart out. Oh my. Yeah. Like you said, I'm feeling good about the offense. I think we're fine. I think we're good. I think we're ready to go. I think the team, at least on that side of the ball, is complete. Ben Cleveland is your worst player that's going to be starting, and he really isn't that bad. He's not like Villanueva bad. I think he's a good pass protector. And he looks good, by the way. Ben Cleveland looks really good. He looks really. He kind of felt like you got a little tubby, maybe, but looks like he cut it back in and eating some good squirrel meat and deer meat and
To
back in shape.
the nice lean, forest animal meat always goes well.
Yeah, definitely. But besides that, Queen's presser, nothing different. Just the same stuff. And then Mark Andrews presser as well, just the same stuff. Mark Andrews is excited to play with receivers. I think that's going to be something that's pretty important. I feel like that was something that was important they touched on.
Yeah, and that was the main quote that I took away from Andrew's presser, how he's been seeing so much attention the last 2 years, and he's excited to have receivers that can spread the defense away from him. So he's not getting bracketed. So he has yards after the catch, run after the catch opportunities. His run after the catch decreased twofold last year. And I think that is very much attributable to the lack of a vertical Z like Hollywood to peel that safety off the top. So, everybody's been saying it. You and I have been saying it for 3 years, probably. Monken and Lamar finally said it. I mean, I'm gonna make my new. I'm gonna make a quote on my profile. The Lamar quote: "Running can only take you so far." Because when your franchise quarterback that you just made the highest paid player in the league says that, and your offensive coordinator says that, and your all-pro tight end says the same thing, and even Ryan Mink with his 50 words or less article on Sunday was all of a sudden like changing his tune completely and was like, yo, we think about all the space that these wide receivers can create for the running backs and all this kind of stuff we've been saying for 3 years. Anyone that's still holding out on the run dominant identity, they're quite stubborn.
Yep. That would be adapt or die, and I think it's time to adapt. It's time to turn into a more pass heavy team. Running will only get you so far. Lamar's been saying it at almost every chance he's had. I like every Lamar press conference after we lose in the playoffs or a crucial game. He's like running can only take you so far. He's been saying it for a while now, and all the running kind of like turned the league's view on him as he's a running back, because they ran him so much, and I feel like that was an extension of Harbaugh's philosophy, and it kind of ruined it a little, ruined his league view just a tiny bit.
Yeah, I forget who said it. It might have been Cole on Twitter. I saw Cole Jackson. Less QB power on must-have downs. That would be a step in the right direction. 3rd and 5. You really want to. Like Roman even said, he would run his receivers into routes like to the far left boundary of the field to give his quarterback a scrambling lane, like on the right side. Like that's not going to win a Super Bowl in the NFL. So yeah, I mean, I think Lamar's happy. I think Andrews is happy. I think the receiving core is in good shape. I'm not the kind of guy. I'm a team first kind of guy. I'm not a player first kind of guy. I'm not so worried about players being happy. I think the cream will rise to the top. That's the way you should build a roster. But we got some good vibes going right now. I will say that. I feel a lot of really good vibes on offense for real.
Definitely. I do as well. I think the Ravens offense is probably going to shock anyone that doesn't follow them. I really do. I do think this is going to be a top scoring offense, a top yardage offense, all that stuff. But I think that about does it for everything. Not a lot going on. Not a lot to talk about. hopefully the Ravens sign edge rusher between now and camp. Voss, any final thoughts here?
We're just gearing up for the season, slow and steady, learn the playbook, assimilate, get used to the new coaches. I think it's a really good, strong coaching staff. Chuck Smith, the Dr. Pass Rush, or whatever they call him. There was a good clip going out today that where he was teaching Tavius Robinson to kind of pull in his toe and pop the pad, and there was a big difference. Just the way you point your toe. I mean, it's like a golf swing or whatever it is. Build up that muscle memory. Build it up. Get ready for the regular season. A couple more pieces to add. AFC North has been tough. I do the daily Ravens news every day on Baltimore Beatdown, and a lot of the big websites have been PFF, CBS, ESPN, The Athletic. They've been putting out what's the toughest division in the league, and a lot of them are putting the AFC North number one, at least in the top three. But a lot of them have number one, and I think next week let's dive into the rest of the division, because I do agree with Costa. The goal is to win the division first. It doesn't mean you build the roster to win the division, and to build the roster over what the division was 3 years ago or 10 years ago when it was rough and tumble, and now it's a little bit more spread. But you got to start with the division. So a lot going on, a lot of options, I think there's still a couple levers to be pulled, and I'm excited to see what choices DaCosta makes between now and training camp.
Definitely. Well said. And we'll go ahead and get out of here. Everyone go enjoy your night. Go have a good weekend. Summer, the weather's getting good. Go to the beach, go outside, go hang out with your family, your friends, tell them you love them. And without that, I will see you guys later. Peace.